not all topics are equally important. There are certain topics that are more important than other topics. I have taken the most important theme of every subject. Parliament is a very important theme because this year they might ask a question from sustainable agriculture. They can, if you focus, if you do it well, your 30 to 40 marks are guaranteed. Hello everyone, I am Sajal Singh, the Academic Director offline of Sarthi IAS. And today I'll be talking about 10 most important themes for prelims 2025. So we at Sarthi IAS have always been emphasizing on smart studying, right? And if you have seen my earlier videos also, be it for mains, be it for prelims, I've always emphasized that to crack this exam, you need to focus on smart studying, which means that not all topics are equally important. There are certain topics that are more important than other topics. And in prelims, you have to fight for each and every marks. Every marks is important in this UPSC journey. I've seen people losing out, for like let's say 0.5 or 1 marks. So it's very important that you fight for each and every marks. Now, in today's session, I'll be talking about 10 broader themes based on the PYQ analysis of last 10 years. These themes have very high probability, I would say close to 100% probability of being asked in UPSC 2025 exam, right? And in some themes are that important that not just one, up to 5 to 6 questions can be asked from these themes. 5 to 6 questions. So from these 10 themes, we can actually expect around 20 questions this year, right? Just imagine the importance of 20 questions. It's around 40 marks, right? So that's why it's very important that you give special focus to these 10 important themes, right? Before we move to these themes, I would also like to announce that I have been sitting in the offline center of Sarthi IAS, and we have just launched this program, Prelims Offline Program. And in this program, you will be under my guidance, and every second day you will be writing test, and I will be in the class. I'll be and the what we call a serious monitor who will see that whether you are writing the test. Along with that, after the test, I'll do the discussion of that test. And before we start any subject, we'll also do the strategic session. I'll also do a strategic session lecture on that subject, how to prepare and other things. Along with that, you will also have to make the report card for yourself, because it's very important that you analyze where you are making mistake. One aspect is that you are attempting test. Second aspect is you are analyzing what exactly are your gaps. So for that we have a report card concept. You fill why your questions are going wrong, and then after you fill the report card, the mentor will assist you in rectifying those gaps, right? So along with that, the Plus program has video lectures, recorded video lectures of Dr. Shivin and many other faculties, prestigious faculties of Sarthi IAS. So it's a program that focuses on learning by testing, and I am giving you an assurance that I will be with you till your prelims exams are over, and if you implement whatever I say, definitely success will be at your feet, right? So moving on to the topic, which is 10 most important themes. First, very important, the most important theme of polity is Parliament. So basically what I have done is I have taken the most important theme of every subject, right? So the first important theme is Parliament. Parliament is a very important theme because last year, if you see, 6 questions were asked from Parliament chapter. 6 questions, 12 marks. From one chapter of Lakshmikant, 6 questions were framed by the UPSC. And it's not just about last year. Every year, minimum 3 to 4 questions are asked from this chapter of Parliament. So Parliament becomes a very important theme for your polity preparation. You should give double time to Parliament, because the cost benefit analysis of focusing on parliament is very high. See, this question was asked last year, and along with that, 5 other questions were asked from the parliament chapter. Then, second important thing in history is chronology. Chronology is very important. If you see last 5 years paper, 4 times they have asked a question on chronology. For example, this question was asked in 2023. Consider the following dynasties: Hoysala, Gahadwala, Kakatiya and Yadava. How many of these above dynasties were established in the 8th century, in the early 8th century? So chronology in ancient and medieval history is the favorite theme of UPSC. And last year they did not ask any question from chronology. They asked one question in 23, 22, 21, 20. Last year they skipped it. So there is a very high chance that this year they will ask a question from chronology. So please keep that in mind when you're reading ancient and medieval history. Keep the chronology in mind of different dynasties. Then RBI and monetary policy. Again, favorite topic of UPSC in economics. At least one question is guaranteed, or I would say 2 questions is guaranteed from this theme. Sometimes they even ask 3 questions from this theme. So RBI and monetary policy and the aspects of monetary policy is something I would say is the most important topic in economics. Should give high focus to it. So for example, last year they have asked this question about digital rupee. Before that also they had asked a question on digital rupee, right? So with respect to RBI and monetary policy, you have to prepare both the theory side and the application side. Theory side would talk about RBI and all these institutions, and application side will talk about that. Let's say if repo rate has increased or decreased, what will be the impact, etc., etc. So both the theory and the practical side you have to focus upon in this topic. Next, or the fourth important topic or theme is pollutant and its sources. Again, one question guaranteed from this in environment. They will ask you about mercury, for example. In last 2 years, they've asked about mercury. Before that, they ask about sulfur dioxide emission. They can ask about cadmium. They can ask about carbon monoxide. So there are, I would say, 10 to 12 important pollutants that we see, that we really study. Please focus on that, and please ensure that you also focus on what are the sources of these pollutants, what are the uses, because some pollutants also have some uses, right? So ultimately, please give special focus on pollutant wala topic. It's very, very important for your exam. Then clean energy and sustainable agriculture. So, at least one question either from clean energy or from sustainable agriculture. That's guaranteed, right? They have not asked any question from sustainable agriculture in last 2 years. So I am literally predicting that this year they might ask a question from sustainable agriculture, right? So for example, in last year they'd ask about green hydrogen, right? And 2022 may they ask about the SRI, right? Before that they'd also ask about the sugarcane initiative. So they have a habit of asking question either from clean energy or from sustainable agriculture. So these are very important topics in environment. Then constitutional reforms in India from 1773 till 1947. Another, I would say, the most important topic in modern history. Because if you analyze the PYQs, in most of the years, they've asked at least one question from either 1935, 1919, Morley Minto, or the earlier reforms. For example, last year they asked about the 1935 Act. So constitutional reform in India, another topic that you should give special focus on. Then regions often mentioned in news. Now from past few years, UPSC is also asking questions ki, this, they will give you an area. So match the following area and why they were in news. So for that you'll have to rely on newspaper, closely observe what is happening across the world. For example, there are so many coups happening in West Africa, then there are things happening in Middle East, there are things happening in the Atlantic world. So keep a track of things that are happening across the world. For example, last year they asked this question on why was Argentina, Sudan and Turkey in news. So again, one question very much expected from this topic. Then Jainism and Buddhism, favorite topic of UPSC. Now this is a topic from where they do not ask one, but in most years they have asked two questions. So again, just like Parliament, it is a topic which is very, very highly probable, right? Last year they asked two questions from this topic, right? So ultimately, see, these are the two topics that were asked from Jainism, Buddhism in 2024. Before that also they had asked question on Jainism, Buddhism. So at least one, in most cases, two questions will be asked from this topic, right? So Jainism, Buddhism mein you have to give special focus, use Google, use AI, use our material of Saarthi IAS, because ultimately UPSC is digging little beyond the regular textbooks in Jainism and Buddhism. Then mapping is another area, in geography, at least 2 to 3 questions, sometimes even more. I think 2022 or 21 there are 6 questions from mapping, right? So mapping is another area which you have to give special focus on, right? So that is there. For example, last year they asked this question on longest border between two countries in the world is between. So that was asked last year. Then in science and tech, biotechnology, genes and DNA, another area. Why I am saying it's important, because last year they did not ask, surprisingly they did not ask any question from this topic. So I'm very much hopeful that this year they will ask one question from either biotechnology, either from DNA, from genes. Is an area that is again a favorite of UPSC. So for example, 2023 they have asked this question, microsatellite DNA is used in the case of which of the following, right? So I think these are the 10 important topics which I think are most highly probable topics for this year's prelims. And I've said these are not 10 topics. They can, if you focus, if you do it well, your 30 to 40 marks are guaranteed, right? So I also would like to announce that I am in offline center of Saarthi IAS, and there is a form that is there in the description box. You fill that form and I will take a mentorship session, free mentorship session with you. So just fill the form and let's crack prelims 2025. So that is all for today's video, and I'll be back shortly with another video with respect to prelims. Thank you.